Welcome, friends, to the Beaver Dam, and today we are talking about the wonderful, the beautiful, the silent but deadly gas. Now, gas is amazing. I love gas with all of my heart, but when do you farm this guy? When do you farm this beautiful boy? He's. I say to hay it. I hate to say it. He's started to fall out of the meta a bit, and it hurts my soul to see. And I want not Sith Eternal, mind you. See as in I'm sight. It hurts to see that he is where he is, but he's still fantastic. He still beats Malgus. He still he can beat Quadme. He still has some good uses in your account on offense or defense. He's still a solid character. The problem is he's so expensive. His requirements are essentially a GL level event, and so I'm going to talk about this from both a Lightspeed bundle perspective as well as a free-to-play farming perspective. So first things first, we're going to go over the free-to-play farming perspective, and then we'll go over the Lightspeed bundle a little bit later. I'll leave timestamps just so that way for those of you who are Lightspeed bundle enjoyers, you can go check that out. So for free to play, this guy, he doesn't really have a home in your farming because you have to build an entire fleet for him. You have to build a Padme team, which for those of you who don't know, Padme can be soloed by Malik, which makes it much harder for me to be like, yes, go for this character. There's a reason that mine is still gear 12 and will remain so until I get JMK into my roster. The nice thing is you kind of build the fleet, like the pilots for the fleet as you go, which is solid. And like none of these characters are bad to farm. That's one thing I will say about this farm. Jedi Knight Anakin's required for Sith Eternal. Ahsoka is required for both GL Ahsoka as well as part of the JMK team, and is just a good Jedi in general. General Kenobi is requirement for JMK. He's the leader of the fleet. Like, none of these are bad things to farm. C-3PO is part of a CLS team. Shock T is one of the best plug-and-play Jedi. Like, you could use her with Imperial Troopers to take down a solo Lord Vader. You can use her, in just all kinds of teams, and she's great in the raid right now. Although, if you're watching this a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, high future, tell me, did I make it? But overall, she's solid, even outside of the raid. And hopefully she'll get her own clone team in the near future. Once again, those guys in 10 years, please throw in the comments section whether or not we got a Shock T clone team. But then you're going into the final tier, and it's Asajj Ventress, which Asajj Ventress isn't super helpful, but these droids are all part of the General Grievous team, which is still a great team. B2 is a requirement for Rote. Magna Guard's a requirement for JMK. Like, there's not a bad farm in this farm. That's the nice thing, is all of it is a feel-good farm, and all of it is something that feels really good to do because it builds towards GLs. It builds a good fleet that's a meta fleet. Not meta, but like it's an S tier on offense fleet and I'd say an A tier on defense fleet. It's a meta killer fleet, I should say. No part of this is feel bad besides the fact that it's all subpar teams. It's like not the greatest, and it's very out of your way unless you're going for JMK. And so if I were to suggest a place to put this farm, there's two places. The first one is a passion project. If you have a passion for this character, do it. I'd suggest waiting until after your first GL and after your first GL ship, or at least after your first GL. Like, that is like kind of the harsh reality, is just you need something good in your roster to pass you over and help you be good until you can get your gas. So with the passion project side, I would suggest getting your first GL, your GL ship, before going for them. In a perfect world, I think the area that you should go for them for a passion project is that kind of area where you have like 2 to 3 GLs and a GL ship, especially if you have Jabba in your roster. You're perfect going for this as a passion project. You know, it's not a bad passion project. This was my passion project. My overall farming path was I did the Revens first because I love Revan, and then I started researching the game and watching Arnold and stuff, and so I started farming for Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, and I got Supreme Leader Kylo Ren because that was the meta back then, was you get Supreme Leader Kylo Ren first. And then after getting Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, I was like, I really want gas. I really want the guy. And so I went for him next, and I justified it by the fact that, hey, this fleet plugs in a hole of the Finalizer fleet can't beat the Malevolence, and so this fleet really just fills in that gap that I was missing in my roster. So that's how I justified it to myself. But you know, this is a passion project, is not a bad passion project whatsoever. It's not a feel bad passion project. But if you're looking at when you should get gas and you're looking for like the optimum time, I'm gonna say it's not a GP limit kind of thing like it used to be, where it's like, you want a couple GLs, you want to be over this GP level. I think this is just, as soon as you start working towards JMK, that's the area. When you start working towards Galactic Republic stuff, I think pushing in on gas is a great idea. Now, I do want to issue some warnings here. You know, you're probably going to have to take a couple of these characters up to relic level, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, we've talked about how they're requirements, as well as you're going to have to invest some Zetas. It's a very high Zeta investment for this overall. So I will warn you to be careful with it, but overall, this is going to be a really solid farm for anyone who's looking for a passion project, or anyone who's going for the Galactic Republic faction. This team still does quite a bit. Now, let me jump into kind of the Lightspeed bundle problem. Now, if you are a Lightspeed bundle purchaser, you probably have the gas bundle, but you also have a Jabba bundle, you also have a JML bundle, you have a Ray bundle, you have an SLKR bundle. There's so many bundles that you probably purchased, and gas should not be at the top of them. And I hate to say it, but he just can't be, because you know, you're gonna have to push a whole bunch of work into this. You know, you got Kyrotex on Padme, you have getting C-3PO up, you have to get Kyrotex on General Skywalker, then you have to build the clones, and so all of that is like, it's gonna take some heavy duty investment. The only one you get for free, I believe, is Fives at Relic 3, and then on top of that, there are so many Zetas, and you know, you're in the Zeta debt. Like, if you're a free-to-play player and you're farming this, like, I didn't have much problems getting the Zetas for these teams when I was going for it as a free-to-play player, because as a free-to-play player, you tend to have more Zetas than you have, you know, teams. But when it came to this, you know, you look at this. I mean, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 on gas, 1 on Rex, 2 on Fives, 1 on Arc Trooper. So grand total of 8 Zetas just for this team. That doesn't include anything that you put on Padme to get through the event, or General Kenobi, or Ahsoka, or anything you put on the droids. You probably put on the B1 Zeta to be able to get through that one. You know, so many Zetas, and you're probably Zeta starved. And is it worth it? Not the most. If it's a passion project, sure, but like it's rough to justify this when you have you're close to Jabba, you're close to Leia, you're close to all the stuff that Lightspeed bundles gets you close to. It's really hard to justify this farm. And so I would say the moment that you can get this is like that 3 GL area. You have yourself, you know, you've gotten your Rey and your Supreme Leader Kylo, and you have yourself like a Jabba. Then you can take a break and get your gas up if you want to. So like it's very much a passion project, and I think one of the biggest indications for everyone, free to play or otherwise, of like whether or not you should go for gas is honestly Malgus. It's such a weird thing to say, but like you know, if you are a Lightspeed bundle player and you're sitting there and you're struggling with Malgus, you're seeing Malgus a ton, I think you should start working on gas sooner rather than later, because having to waste a GL against Malgus every time you see him is painful. And when you have everything you need to get him started, you might as well go for it as a light speed build. As a free to play, I wouldn't use it as much of as an excuse, but you can use that as your justification if it's a passion project, right? But like, you know, that's what one of the big indicators is like. When I look at an account and I'm, you know, doing a roster review, I start going through their roster and I see like the gas light speed bundles in there, and I'm like, they're like, should I farm up gas? I'm like, are you seeing Malgus a ton in GAC? And they're like, not really. And I'm like, then don't worry about it, because like if you're seeing Malgus a ton, having a good Malgus counter is always super nice, especially because gas, even if it doesn't beat Malgus, usually kills off the side people, and that can be an easy tactical 2-shot. So General Skywalker's one of those ones that's like, if you're seeing a lot of Malgus, or you know, you're seeing a lot of areas where you need like a GL cleanup, you need a tactically 2-shot of GL, General Skywalker does a great thing for that. So that's when I'd start like thinking about doing him. And as for like bare minimum mods for the guy, you know, for the Galactic Republic, if you want to get through the Padme event easiest, I'd probably suggest the Ahsoka Tano Zeta. It's probably the one that'll help the most in that event. There's a couple other ones that are super helpful, but that one, the damage from it is just so nice. And then for the other tier with the droids, the B1 Zeta is like, he is your damage dealer. So the B1 Zeta is kind of the most important thing for that event. Once I got the B1 Zeta is the moment that I won that event. You can do it without Zetas, but you're gonna have to have some really freaking good mods and definitely some relic characters in there. And then for the 501st themselves, bare minimum, you're gonna want everything but his basic. And then you're gonna want fives is tactical awareness. Bare minimum, those are the those are the 4 Zetas that you need to make this team actually work. So get the stack Zeta on 5s, and then get the 3 on General Skywalker. So I believe it's his lead, his 2 uniques are his Zetas, and then his basic. So everything but his basic. But then you'll have at least a usable gas team till you can really invest in this. And I don't suggest anything lower than Relic 3 for all your clones. And the higher you relic your 5s, the more powerful the whole team's going to be, because the moment that 5s dies, the rest of the team becomes much more powerful. So it's kind of up to you. But let me know when you guys think you should farm gas. Maybe it's tomorrow because you're just feeling a passion project coming on. It's hard just because of how many Zetas are needed for their event, for the character, all of that type of stuff. But, you know, I want you guys to have the character. He's a favorite character of mine. I love his kit. I would love a lifter to him. I think he's 1 lifter away from being like straight back under the meta and being a top team. And I think Krex is a good indication of that. Throwing Krex with him stops some of the counters with him and that type of thing. But there's only 1 Krex to go around, and there's like 17 teams that Krex can go with. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. And thank you for giving a damn.